So my name is Joanna Burk. I'm a Kiwi living in Sydney, desperately waiting for the corridor to open between Australia and New Zealand so I can see my family, especially my only 3-year-old grandson living in Auckland. Also, I was about to fly over and run a Spike Prime and We Do 2.0 workshop when the borders closed. That was about 3 months ago now. So hopefully I will be able also to run workshops again soon, who knows. I'm also one of the 2 LEGO Education certified teacher trainers at Modern Teaching Aids, and the other teacher trainer is James Dwyer, who is on the chat function, and with him is Hope Brewer on the chat. So Hope is a school rep based in Auckland, also a primary school teacher, and who up until quite recently was teaching in the classroom. So I'm sure between James and Hope, they will look after you and will be answering your questions or making a list till the end for question time. So what are we going to actually cover today in the webinar? So first of all, obviously, I'm going to be showing you the Spike Prime set with the sensors and the Programmable Hub. We'll have a look at the software. We'll explore the unit plans, and I'm going to demonstrate one unit from the unit plans called Super Cleanup, which is pretty topical right now, and demonstrate the scratch-based programming as we work through that. Review the online support materials, and after that we'll have a Q&A session and hopefully answer any questions that you may have then. So before we actually sort of get started, I'd just like to give you a little bit about Spike Prime and where it fits and the philosophy behind LEGO Education's introduction of Spike. So it's really a perfect addition to the product family. So it's targeted for years 5 to 8, so upper primary, intermediate, definitely, and early high school. So it sits nicely between We Do 2.0 and EV3. For those of you who are not so familiar with either or one of those other platforms, We Do 2.0 is for younger students with an emphasis on science and coding, and EV3 is a third version of Mindstorms, which offers a low point of entry, i.e. they actually all offer that. But it's easy to get started with, but it has a higher ceiling than Spike. So it's now takes you right through primary, intermediate, secondary, and onto university. However, there's been a little bit of concern from teachers that the gap between We Do and EV3 was too much of a jump for many students. So this is where Spike Prime fits in, giving that extra confidence to students and teachers, and in particular girls. I mean, obviously as well as boys, but in particular girls. So from the ground up, it's really been designed with LEGO Education's core philosophy in mind. And if you haven't read it already, it's on the screen in front of you, which is that play is essential for learning and building confidence. Now, that philosophy is based on Seymour Papin's theory of constructionism, which is the idea that children learn best when they are actively engaged in constructing something that has a personal meaning to them, be it a poem, a robot, a sandcastle, or a computer program. So we all know, and especially you as teachers, that it is always optimal to have students engaged in hands-on and playful activities. So with that in mind, the LEGO Education has also researched the common characteristics of playful experiences and boiled them down to these 5 characteristics that you can see there. Joyful, meaningful, engaging, iterative, socially interactive. So covering it all in one, almost in one sentence, is that in any workshop you're in or any classroom you're in where students are using robotics, I know it's incredibly hard to get them to take a break. In other words, they've definitely taken ownership. We have to push even teachers out to to go and have their lunch. So it's definitely become meaningful. They are certainly actively engaged while they keep going over a task and trying to get the results they want. They're bouncing ideas off each other. So in that way, iterative, because they're experimenting, comparing, predicting, etc. And obviously, definitely socially interactive. So teaching STEAM or STEM can be challenging, and as I mentioned, this is why Spike Prime was developed, to be innovative, engaging, really help build that confidence in teachers. And for me, that's the main thing. Everyone needs confidence to deliver it. For me, I needed a little bit of help with this whole share screen with running webinars, because this is so very different to face-to-face workshops. So I well understand anyone. I mean, talking to a light that's the size of a pinhole is so different from what I've been doing for the last, I'm not too sure how many years now. So so as far as Spike goes, for me, I think a good thing is it offers quick building and plenty of connection points. It's colourful, which makes it really appealing to girls, and I think that's important. So let's get started. I think that's what we really need to do. So what do you need? These are the components of the LEGO Education Spike Prime solution. You obviously need the Spike Prime set and the app, which is downloaded for free from the LEGO site. One set supports 2 students. However, that depends on your budget. That's optimal, but because no one likes missing out. However, it might be different if you're just going into a competition, which I'll talk about later. There is an expansion set, but that's only needed for about 3 unit plans, and that's when you get to the competition level. So there really is no need for it, definitely, to start off with. So what we're going to do is look at the hardware first. So you can see that obviously it comes in a yellow box, if those of you have never seen it before, and the lid. Don't forget the lid. The lid's great to build on. So if you've got limited space in your classroom, use the lid. There are 2 sorting trays now, so you'll see those compartments there. They have 8 compartments in total, so 4 in each. When you get the Lego elements, the bags are numbered 1 to 8, and so you just tip the parts and where they should go. I will show you there because it doesn't have it there. I'm just going to show you this inventory guide, which comes with the set that you can't see. It actually shows the compartments, and I'm not too sure how much of that you can see, but a little bit. It actually shows the compartments so that you can see where the pieces belong. So, and around the bottom are the bits that belong in the bottom of the set. You will get some stickers, a sheet of stickers, and again, it may be a little difficult to see, but you just get the stickers, and they're on the side of the compartments, again, helping you so that you know where it belongs. The inventory on here actually also gives you the number of elements that you've got, so it's also a good check for you, and you can have a look at it. Just a word that you do get a spare parts bag in your set that doesn't have a number. I would advise you not to open it. You definitely don't need it when you start. And because you'll need to number your sets, or you should number all your sets, and the electronic parts for sure inside, so that you keep them all together, I would number the spare parts bag for the number of set and then pop it away somewhere safe to stop you from using it. And then you'll know when you need it, and then you can get it out. So, so what I'm just going to show you very quickly is the hub. And the hub we have here, which I think it might be easier if I just flip to the next screen. So the hub, these are the motors and the sensors that you can see here. So this, the hub itself, which I've actually got in my hand, and I'll give you a closer look in a minute. Inside is a 6-axis gyro sensor, which actually allows for many programming possibilities. It's the motors, it also has an accelerometer. So the motors also come with an integrated rotation sensor. So you get 2 medium motors and a large sensor. So they have absolute positioning, so you can tell where the rotation's located. And for me, I guess when I'm thinking about it, the best thing is that they can fit easily into frames. Now, it's a bit remiss of me. Before I just move on, I just want to show you quickly some of the new parts that are included in the robotics set. It shows the colors as well, because when I talk about frames, you can see that these are included in the set, and they're new to robotics set. So, and you can see the color and lots of connection points. There's also a base plate that's included in the set for the first time. there are some new little parts that just, I don't know if you can't really see that clearly, but it's called a biscuit. And you can see that this will also allow for many building possibilities, same as this little wheel, and there's a new little connection on the top there. And the tires are great. Hopefully the robots will go in a straight line now when you want them to. A wheel, I should call it. The tires are fixed to the wheels, so definitely going to reduce friction. I just thought I'd add those. And the last one, I think I should say, this is not new, a 2x4 brick, but what's new is the axle holes in it for the, so that you can connect it even. So I think that you might also notice with the sensors and the motors there, anyone who's familiar with the EV3, and I'll show you those, there are no protruding parts. So again, these are quite slimline and they're going to fit into any of the models quite easily. And the same with the hub. So I'm just going to, after we've had a look at the hub, I'm then going to go back into the app and we'll have a look at the units, which obviously are really important and absolute bonus for the classroom, not just about building a robot, but giving structure and guidance and goals. So just for the minute, I'm going to stop my share and show you the hub, and then we're going to go into the software. So, okay, so now you've got me just for a minute, and I just want to show you the hub. So this is obviously the Programmable Hub, and it has a connection for a micro USB cable, which comes in the set. If you lose it, as maybe some of you may or may not, you can actually, they're a common cable, so you'll find them anywhere really, and you'll be able to get another one. Otherwise, you're using Bluetooth connection. So there's the cable connection there, and then we have a Bluetooth button up there. So today I'm going to be using the cable, but obviously you can use Bluetooth. You can just see, looking at this, it's a nice rectangle shape, and you've got inside here you actually have the hub that is charged by the USB cable or a USB charger. So what's great about it is it fits really snugly in there, and it's pretty easy to clip in and out. You'll notice no space for AA's, so that's good for the environment. And you can connect it quite easily, and it snaps back in there. So quite nice and quick for that. And the other thing is that there are 6 ports. So there are 6 they're called universal ports. So those of you who are familiar with the EV3, you'll know that these are now ports for either your motors or sensors. So you'll be able to just connect them to either, and they are labeled A, B, C, D, E, and F. And I think that's, nope, I'm not going to miss that. We have a speaker on it as well. And I think that's about it for now. So what I'm going to do is just turn it on. And then when I turn it on, hopefully you'll be able to see. So we have a 5x5 matrix display, and you can see the pixels there in their shape. And on each side are buttons as well, and they will direct us through to whatever program we want to display. Now the programs, there's that's 20 slots, so the programs can be numbered 0 to 19, and that means that you can download 20 individual slots. So I think that's about as much as I'm going to do now, because what I'm going to do is take us into the software, and we can have a look, and I'm going to connect some of the sensors up because it's a much better way of having it a look. So hopefully now what I'm going to do is take us into the Spike software and share that screen with you. Okay, so now we've got the Spike Prime software up, and you should be able to see that okay. It is above the laptop that's got my camera that I'm using, so I will be sort of talking up a bit to it. So what I'm going to do now is just bring this down. So I'm just going to, as you can see, we're on the home or the lobby page in the software, but I'm going to come back to that. What I'm going to do now is just go into a new project. And as I'm going into it, you can see here that it says Word Blocks or Python, because now you can use Python to program with Spike, but we're not doing that today. So when we go in here, my whole idea of we're going to do first is just to have a look at the hub connected to So we've just got the programming. We have the blocks on the side here, which I'll come back to. But up on the top is a little connect and a hub showing there with a red dot. So what I'm going to do now is get my cable and connect it to, hopefully, to the dashboard. Okay, and it's connected. I know it's done it many, many times before, but sometimes when you really want something to happen, it doesn't. Anyway, so now I have the dashboard up, and I think the best thing to do is for me to click on it, and it actually takes you into the dashboard where it shows the hub, and you can see there that I've got program output 0 up. First of all, it shows the number of my hubs. So as I said to you before, it's really important to number all your hubs and your sets, and it gives the firmware version, and it also gives the battery level, which is at 100%. Now, as I mentioned before, the hub has an inbuilt rotation sensor, an accelerometer. So right now here you can see it's showing the yaw, the pitch and the roll, and clearly I'm moving it around a lot, so it's definitely moving. So the first option is the tilt angle, and then the next one is your orientation. So at the moment it's front or right side, top, bottom, left side, and then we've got the gyro rate and the acceleration, so that you can see that again adds to a lot more programming possibilities for your students. So then we can go into the other thing it will, and I'll connect the sensors soon. So it gives real-time values for your, obviously for your motor and sensors as well. You can also go into manage projects from here, and it will list the programs that you've got up to from 0 to 19. So it gives you the name of the project. I've been pretty lazy and not named any of mine in specific. They just some that I had loaded up on this one a little while ago. It gives the size of it, it gives how long ago you did it, and when it was created. Now you can move them around if you want to. So if I don't want 0 there, but I want it down here, it will change it around. I'm not sure. And then if I want to change it back to 0, so I can go back to my dashboard, and I can go out of there. Now I'm going to go back in there because it's a little bit easier to see. I'm first going to just connect up some sensors for you. I might just pop this, bring up the distance sensor. So obviously the distance sensor is going to measure an object, and I might just take this off, but I'll just pop this up here for now. So I've just attached the distance sensor, and as you can see, it's showing there that it's connected to output A. And if I click on here again, you can see it a lot clearer in here, and showing 20 centimeters. If I face it towards my laptop, it's showing 30, 27, 19. If I get my hand and bring it in front of here, it stops at 4. So 200 is its maximum, and 4 basically about minimum. And it's showing, it's obviously showing its real-time value for them. So that's your distance sensor. As you can see again, it's nice and slimline. It's going to fit onto any models quite quickly. And the next one I'll bring up is the force. So the force sensor is obviously is also a touch sensor, but it measures in newtons, which is great. Now you can see I've connected it to D there, and it's just showing 0 newtons because obviously I've not pressed anything. So, but if I press it down slowly, you'll see it's now measuring in newtons, and I should be able to go right through to 10. So I believe that 10 newtons is equal to about 1 kilo. So again, I can think of lots of building and programming possibilities that your students can have with this. It also obviously has an axle hole on the end of it, and you can have a little connector connected to it, and it can be built into the models really well. And then the other one that I'm going to bring up, and I might just pop this one down here, is the color sensor. So I'll connect the color sensor up here, I think. And the color sensor, obviously, this one's going to read Lego colors, but it also reads ambient and reflective light. So the colour, or the Lego sensor itself and reflective sensors probably been one of the most used sensors in robotics that when I've been working with them. So as far as colours go, I'm just going to bring up some coloured bricks I've got here. So this is purple, and you'll see there's a number next to it. So Lego obviously put a number next to all their colours. And then we have green, which is number 5, and red, which is, where are we, on 9, and then bringing up blue. So it reads the colours really well. Just a reminder, it reads Lego colours, so don't be too concerned if it doesn't read a colour that you are really expecting it to, because it just may not be close enough to a Lego colour. So that's the sensors. What I think I'm going to do now is just take us in. I might leave the colour sensor on and just take off these, and I'm going to bring up a motor, and we'll just have a look at a quick program on here, just so that you can have a look and see how easy it is for the software to be used. So as I mentioned before, we can actually now, what actually shows us where it is on the rotation, so we can actually have very accurate reading, and it's connected to 0. You can see the 0 hopefully there, where it's actually showing where the rotation is. At the moment I've attached a beam to it, so it'll be a lot easier for you to see. So what I'm going to do is just connect the motor to the hub, and I might just connect it on this side. Okay, so now I have the motor connected, and you can see up there it's connected to A, and if I spin it around, you'll actually see the rotation sensor. So if I move that out of the way, so you'll see it should go around, and it will spin around from 0 to 360, and I might just bring it around here to 99. So on the side here are the blocks we use, so they're called stacking blocks, and this one here is a hat, so we need a hat to start the program. They're all in colours, so colour palettes, so we have motors and movement, light, sound, events. So we've got movement, which synchronize the motors. We've got light, where we can change the pixels on our display. We've got sound, which is a lot of fun, and then we have events. So I'm just going to go back up to motors quickly, and what I'm going to do is to I think I'm going to slow it down so that you can actually see the rotations that move through the rotations, and I'll make that just down the speed to 10%. And then what I'll do is bring it to go to the shortest path to position 0, so I'll know where it's starting from. And if you have a look down the bottom now, you'll see that there's 0 there. I'm just going to leave it on 0 for now and just click play to just show you. So now it's back on 0, and well, pretty close to it for some reasons, not quite there, but hopefully it will get there. And so what I'm going to do is just create a program and use the color sensors. So I think when I'm going to bring out when the color is red first, then what I might do is turn on a pixel, and because it's red, I'm going to clear those and then make a R, we hope, for red. Okay, so then it should come up an R for red. And then what I think we'll do is play a sound, and then after that I'll get the motor to run clockwise, or degrees rather, and change that to 180. And I might just pull that down so we can actually see it do something. And then I'm going to duplicate this, and I do that by right clicking on there and just click duplicate and bring it over here. And now I'm going to change the color obviously to blue. And so I need to change this to a B, or close enough. And then let's run anti-clockwise for 180 degrees. But how about we change the sound? So I'm just keeping an eye on my dog, because when I play these sounds, she's been my little colleague for the last 3 months, and kind of to robot. I might just choose the bird sound, and it doesn't appear there. It's on my list. I have to actually click on there and select it. So as far as selecting the sound and playing the sound, they can create their own sound. You need to actually obviously have the sound block open. You need to click on there and find the sound you want, and then you'll find it in the list. So it doesn't automatically come up at first. So now what I'm going to do, I think I'll change the 0 just to a different program slot. So we'll leave it on 2 for now. And I'm going to just close that off. And then I'm going to download the program. And hopefully you can see where it's highlighted. So now it's not going to do anything clearly until I bring up the red. So let's just make sure that that's the purple, so that's not going to help us too much, hopefully. And it might get these wires out. Right, I'm going to take that back down using the red. And now I shall get up the blue. And away we go. So that's just, and as you saw, I brought up the purple instead of red by mistake before, nothing happens. If I bring up the green, the same thing. But I can see that they could have a lot of fun with that by just, you know, using the red and the green and the blue and confusing their poor robot to do things. But that's just to give you a quick idea of how the programming and how simple it can be to get up and running. So now what I'd like to do is take you into the unit plans very quickly, and not to, obviously to the full software. So you'll see at the top here, there's the start menu. So you've got home, start, units, builder, my projects, exactly the same down here. So there's start, there's recent projects that I've had, the unit plans and the building instructions. It's probably easier to go up here. So if I click on start, for those of you who have just got spike prime in your school, or you want to know where you should start, so okay, so what do? I've got the sets, we've sorted them, now what do? This is where you go to getting started. And you just click see number 1, you start here. And it says create a Lego emoji, which we've just done. Now, all the unit plans are exactly the same format. So I'm not going to go through these now because I'm quite obviously conscious of time and we've got to be very careful there. So this is just creating a Lego emoji, and they go through those steps using the lessons included, the content cards they're called, like a little tutorial in there. Then you move on to the motors and sensors, and they just create little building attachments for them and learn how to use them and how to actually incorporate them in a model. And then this one, which is the most fun, is building a hopper. So they bring in the engineering skills, but it's also makes them really think about what they're doing. So it's very much so that they're experimenting and exchanging ideas. You can give them a race. They have a challenge where they actually can see who can race the fastest, and it has no wheels. The other one is extra resources in here, which are just really simple, quick activities for you to start with. They're just simple, they're fun. There's pass the brick. A lot of them are fun and can be turned into a competition. The teacher resources that are online, I'll come back to soon. And then from start, you go to units, and here are the 4 unit plans. And I will be coming back to them, so I'll just show you these. They actually all have their own dedicated theme, and they all consist of 4 to 6, I guess, increasingly challenging lessons that can be completed in 45, 90, or 120 minutes. So it doesn't really matter where you start, but they do go through to competition ready. I'm just going to show you the build quickly though before I go back to that, because the build has all the building instructions for all the models that are included in the unit plans. And I think this is really important for those of you who are looking for a little bit of extension work with your students. And I know that the unit plans are all about, not just about building a robot, but they're giving structure, they're giving guidance and a goal. Now this is really just letting them build it, and you can maybe say to them, okay, I want you to code it, see if your code's better than what Lego provided, or maybe get two of them to build the same model, and then you'll see that they both code it differently, and they can talk about it. And this is where we're allowing students to progress at their own skill level, and they're all involved in doing something. So I think that's a really good way as well that you can use Build. And my projects actually just gives you a list, and here you can manipulate them a little bit more. But I'm going to go back to students, to units, sorry. And because we're going to come back to Invention Squad, because Super Cleanup that I'm going to demonstrate is actually in there, I'll just quickly show you the other three. So Kickstarter Business is where students will act as entrepreneurs and I guess develop their computational thinking skills along the way. These are definitely all very topical. Well, still for us, obviously, probably not for you anymore in New Zealand, but track your packages has very much been part of my life in the last 3 months. As you can see, I am still working from home. We've got Keep It Safe, which is great. There's Keep It Really Safe, Automate It. These are all really awesome little activities that you can be doing with your students. And I think that once you've had a look through them, you'll really appreciate them for that. Then in life hacks, units will create little hacks to improve their lives. And I guess work with data representation and manipulation. Now, I just have to mention James in this, because James is on chat, and I think he really likes this unit plan, because the first three he's actually done, we were asked to do some videos for our Facebook page. We're actually on your, if you don't have Facebook, you can access it through our modern teaching aids website, which I shall show you if there's time later. So there's breakdance, there's repeat 5 times, where James is actually doing a fitness exercise with his partner and her family. And then there's one, I don't think it's up yet, called Rain or Shine, which is really awesome. So if you've got time, I've also done a couple that are up there if you want to have a look at them, but they're a lot of fun, and I think they're really good to work through. And then let's go back just to Invention Squad. So this is where students will become inventors and apply the engineering design process. So in here, I just would like to show you Super Cleanup and how they all work. Because they all follow the same format, you can click on more, and you can actually see right here, this is something that you want to get involved in, if it's what you think that you want to do. So this is all about saving the world from litter bugs, or testing different grabber designs and help to clean up public spaces. It's beginner, and they say grade 6 to 8, but that would be up to you. There is a little video of it, which I shall just play for you, and then we'll quickly have a look at the lesson. So this essentially shows you what it's about. So I'll disappear for a minute. Okay, so that's the video, and I think it really gives a good intro to it. Now there, if you click on lesson plan, which I will come back to, takes us to the online lesson plans, which are really good and definitely worth going to. But just to show you here, it says that it's going to take 30 to 35 minutes, and if we click on start, this actually takes us right into what you need now. So as the content cards I was talking about contain the lessons, and the first one is obviously a video, and it's the introduction to it. So And on the left-hand side, before we start, this actually shows the blocks that are only needed for this activity. So you don't want to overwhelm the students and or yourself. And so this is, but if you want to, you can click on show all and they'll all appear, or you show less, and that's all that you need for this activity. So, so the idea is, did you see litter on your way to school today? Wouldn't it be great to organise a cleanup day? It's a big job, so you're going to need some trash grabbers. How can you find the best grabber for the job? And we need to click on there. I'm not going to show the video again for you, but what I am going to do show you is the build. So the idea is now they're going to build 2 grabbers and a controller, and then test them and have a look. So the build itself gives an idea, or gives a photo of what their model needs to look like, which is, I think, very important. This one is divided into 3, which is great because it certainly allows for them to build in pairs. There's a controller, a grabber 1 and a grabber 2. So I'm just going to select grabber 1 and quickly go through it. So there it shows you what this grabber should look like at the end, and the parts that you need and how you're going to connect them. And I'll just quickly scroll through for you so that you can see. It's really clear and the instructions are great, which I find, because I'm definitely no master builder, that's for sure. And I like to have instructions. So you can follow that right through. And in the end, it shows you where the motor's connected, and obviously the force sensor, which are on the controller. So I'll just click out of there. And then what we're going to do now is to go on. So once we've built them, it actually tells us what we need. Obviously, we can have what we like and what's in the classroom. There are hints, but this one just tells us that we can replace the apple with an object of the same weight. So I'm not sure if you know that. So now you've built your grabbers and you're going to test a program. So I actually made a video of myself doing it. So hopefully I'm going to be able to share this with you, which was just for fun really, because I felt that I wasn't in a face-to-face. So
okay, what you can see here is I have a controller that's already made up that I made earlier today, and one of the grabbers is already attached, and just checking to make sure it's all working. And then we have the other grabber here, which we'll use in a minute. I've just collected some random things to put in front of here, terribly random. Obviously I've got Lego in my house, and I happen to have a lemon in the fruit box, and we've got some rubbish. Anyway, I'm going to try and give it a go to pick up the paper first, and as you can see, it all works okay. I'll pop it in the rubbish bin. You might mentally like to think what you think is going to work. Let's try the lemon. Yeah, I'm not sure if this will be very good at picking up fruit off the ground. They're very tedious in process, that one. So let's try the Lego brick, and that picks up okay. And how are we going to go with the Lego tires? No, not so good there either. Okay, let's quickly swap it over and see how we go with the other grabber. You might like to think about how you feel that's going to work. So let's get out the paper here as well and see, okay, let's try for the Lego piece. Oh, no, we're not going to have any luck doing that. We can try with the paper, actually works with the paper. We can try with the lemon. We can actually find it works with the lemon. And we'll have a look at the wheels, and we can work out a way to pick them up. So now what you can do is, obviously you're going to have students already thinking about how they can modify their grabbers to make them far more successful, give them a few challenges, and away they go. Okay, so let's get back to the software.
okay, so what I'm going to do now is just go back to the software, obviously, and that might be a good thing. Okay, you should have the software up on your screen now. So obviously we've played the grabber test. What do you think works best? The good thing is now, once we go through the lesson plans, you'll actually see that the PDF or the score sheet that you can see up there that your students can use, the table, is actually available to you. So you'll be able to have a look at it, and that will be helpful to you once you go into there, and they can actually work out which grabbers are best for them and not, and keep working through with it. So what I'm going to do now, they can also have a video and record that too, which makes it really good. I'm just going to pop back to the unit plans and go back into the Invention Squad and show you then when I go to more in Super Cleanup. Now I'm going to hope that this one works. I'm going to show you the lesson plan that's online. You actually have to say you're a teacher. If you say you're a pupil, you're not going to go anywhere. I just need to share this. So let's just have a look and see if I can do that, okay? Okay, with a bit of luck, you're actually seeing that all now. So hopefully that's all very clear for you up there. Okay, so this is actually what you'll see. So this is the same for all your unit plans that you can access. So LEGO have a 5 E's approach to all their lessons, and you'll find that they're all the same format. So obviously reading through the student material, but it's engage, it's explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So they're very important for using the LEGO lesson plans. If you understand that, it's going to help you very much when you are planning how you want to manage your classroom time, and I think that's quite important. After that, we can look at igniting a discussion, and they'll give you ideas of that, and that's when they tell you to watch the video. There's also some extra building tips here to make sure everyone's actively involved with it. Design grabber 1's been designed to grab light, flexible objects, and grabber 2's been designed to grab large, heavy objects, and then it gives you an idea of objects that you can use. I've actually done a bit of a competition with this in a class as well, where we get students to design their grabbers and see who can pick up the most objects in the shortest amount of time and take them somewhere. So there's lots of extensions you can do. There's some coding tips here for you. And again, simplifying the lesson by limiting it to 2 objects or taking it to the next level. And I think that's important. Obviously, assessment opportunities is something that is really important in the classroom. So there's a teacher observation checklist. There's a self-assessment and a peer assessment. So, and then often we get asked about cross-curricular, etc. So that LEGO always include that. So this actually has a language arts extension, and it has a maths extension for you where you can get some ideas from. And the last one, but not least, is they have career links. So you never know, students who enjoy this lesson may be interested in these career pathways, and they give an idea of what it is now. So the other thing that we need to then look at is, if I go back up here to teacher support, if I go on to additional resources, then the test tables for the PDF, you'll see are showing up here, so you can actually see those and use those. So I think that's going to be, I think the lesson plans are going to really be helpful for you when you're planning your classroom activities. So I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to go back to the PowerPoint, but while I'm here, I might just show you something that I found out today, because it can be connected to the competition ready, is just that while I'm on the website, it's just about RoboCup Junior New Zealand, which is a national robotics competition for primary and high school students. They just sent me an email this morning about that RoboCup 2020 will be an online competition this year, which I think is really exciting. So you can go to their website. So for the duration of term 3, they're going to be putting up online challenges that can be completed, and they're going to be having in October a huge display and presentation in Dunedin. I think that is. I think there'll be more details coming soon, but I just thought that while I was there, I should probably show it to you, because I might just forget, and that would be disappointing, because RoboCup Junior is very valuable, and I think it's really important for, if you can be involved, if it's an online competition, then I think that's going to make it even more accessible to you. So right now, I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint and share that again with you. So hopefully that'll come up. So obviously we've just had a look at that, and each of the lessons obviously includes a link, and you can go through and try it. As far as the curriculum links go, I think Hope might be able to hopefully help you with that a little bit too, if you wanted to contact Hope afterwards, if you're interested in looking at the integrating it into the curriculum a bit more. But for now, looking at the super cleanup, the Spike Prime unit, I think can be all seamlessly integrated into the curriculum inquiry topics. So just to give you an example, the super cleanup unit of work can be easily integrated into sustainability and space with respect to things like cleaning up waterways. And then looking at this little diagram that you have off a site is the digital technology links, and I think you can see that looking there how the super cleanup would certainly relate to the approaches in computational thinking in creating and debugging and persevering and collaborating. Now, I didn't mention it before, but what I did want to say is that in Make It Move, and that my colleague and I, we run face-to-face workshops, as I mentioned, and I've done quite a number in New Zealand over the years. I want to show you this quick video that was taken from a workshop with the teachers using the hopper that we saw when we first started, because I think it'll just give you an idea of the fun activity that you can do.
1, 2, 3, go.
Ours is called the Destroy
So hopefully that's given you an idea of the kind of fun that your students can have, not only yourself. Obviously it was a bit pixelated for privacy reasons, and so essentially really the next one you can see there is that they're joyful, that everything was meaningful to them, engaging, it was certainly iterative, and as you can see they're definitely socially interactive. So I guess that brings us to the end, and to obviously for some questions, and if you've got any query on the product or quotes, etc. So what I might do now is go into the participants, and hopefully James can unmute himself or not. So I need to unmute everybody. So I'm going to ask you to unmute. If you can unmute yourself, James, and maybe Hope, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
So what I'm going to do is allow everyone to unmute. I don't really need you to do it all together, but if you want to ask a question, then you should be able to, obviously now. And I think, James, if you've got your video on?
Yes, it's on, and as far as I know, is my audio working?
Yeah, I can hear you. And what about Hope? Is Hope there?
I am here, but I have my 2 young babies making noise, so.
I'm worried about my dog, so don't worry.
Totally understandable.
Okay, so do we have any questions?
I think all the questions that were typed in have been answered. Are there any other? You can either type them in, but we've got a small group, so please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions you have.
Okay.
I guess my question would be around the prices. And does that include, when you purchase, does that give you automatic link into the unit plans in that?
With the software, the software is free. That includes all the links into the lesson plans. All that supporting material is part of the package, if you like, when you buy the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can actually download the software now if you wanted to from legoeducation.com and have a look at it. And if you want to email me, my email was up there, jburk@teaching.co.nz. I can put you in touch with your school rep and they can contact you and give you pricing and quotes or whatever else you might need. If you don't know them already, that is.
Cool.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions? No?
Can you hear me, first of all?
Yes, we can.
Just wondering, is there any way that we could have a rep come in and show it to staff? Because obviously, you know, it represents a reasonably decent outlay financially. So it would be great if we could show it to staff first and get their buy-in, basically, before we buy.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. I mean, obviously, I don't know where you're based, but if you would like to email me, I can find out your school rep for you and put you in touch with them. And if you're in, like they go to almost every school everywhere. So, but if you're a country school, I would imagine it'll be when they're going up there next. But look, everywhere in New Zealand's quite close, so.
What area are you based?
I'm in Auckland. I'm in the beating heart of Auckland.
Oh,
So
wow,
me,
there you
I'm
go.
your rep.
Well, that's
I'd be
my
happy to come
hometown, so
out.
that's where I was born. So I'm sure that Hope will be able to look after you.
Yes.
That would be sweet.
Yes, I'll put my email in the chat for you, and we can sort out a time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so do you think we're all finished then? Is everyone happy? Questions answered? We'll call it a day. Or are we right, James, do you think?
Give them another 10 or 15 seconds or so, and if we don't hear anything, yeah, I guess we'll finish it up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Oh, we got a little thumbs up there. Thank you.
Okay,
There you go, Joanna. I think it's Nissan.
All righty.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for attending, everyone. I think we'll, if you've got any questions, you've got my email there. You've probably got James's and you've got Hope, and I'm sure we can look after you in every way we can. So thank you all very much, and hopefully we'll see you at a face-to-face workshop maybe soon, I hope. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Very much. Bye.